Bereshith, Genesis chapter 25, verse 19. And this is the genealogy of Yitzchak, Abraham's son. Abraham brought forth Yitzchak, and Yitzchak was 40 years old when he took Rivkah as wife, the daughter of Bethuel the Aramean of Padan Aram, the sister of Laban the Aramean. And Yitzchak prayed to Yahweh for his wife, because she was barren. And Yahweh answered his prayer, and Rivkah his wife conceived. And within her the children struggled together, and she said, If all is right, why am I this way? So she went to ask Yahweh. And Yahweh said to her, 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 peoples shall be separated from your body. And 1 people shall be stronger than the other, and the older serve the younger. And when the days were filled for her to give birth, and see, twins were in her womb. And the first came out reddish all over, like a hairy garment, so they called his name Esau. And afterward his brother came out, with his hand holding on to Esau's heel, so his name was called Jacob. And Yitzchak was 60 years old when she bore them. And the boys grew up, and Esau became a man, knowing how to hunt, a man of the field, while Jacob was a complete man, dwelling in tents. And Yitzchak loved Esau, because he ate of his wild game, but Rivkah loved Jacob. And Jacob cooked a stew, and Esau came in from the field, and he was weary. And Esau said to Jacob, Please feed me with that same red stew, for I am weary. That is why his name was called Edom. But Jacob said, Sell me your birthright today. And Esau said, Look, I am going to die, so why should I have birthright? Then Jacob said, Swear to me today. And he swore to him, and sold his birthright to Jacob. And Jacob then gave Esau bread and stew of lentils, and he ate and drank, and rose up and left. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Chapter 26. And there was a scarcity of food in the land, besides the first scarcity of food which was in the days of Abraham. And Yitzchak went to Abimelech, sovereign of the Pelashites in Gerar. And Yahweh appeared to him and said, Do not go down to Mitzrayim. Live in the land which I command you. Sojourn in this land, and I shall be with you and barak you. For I give all these lands to you and your seed, and I shall establish the oath which I swore to Abraham, your father. And I shall increase your seed like the stars of the Shamayim. And I shall give all these lands to your seed, and in your seed all the nations of the earth shall be Baruch. Because Abraham obeyed my voice, and guarded my charge, my commands, my laws, and my Torah. And Yitzchak dwelt in Gerar. And when the men of the place asked about his wife, he said, She is my sister, for he was afraid to say, She is my wife, lest the men of the place should kill me for Rivkah, because she is good looking. And it came to be, when he had been there for a long time, that Abimelech, sovereign of the Pelashites, looked through a window, and he watched and saw Yitzchak playing with Rivkah his wife. So Abimelech called Yitzchak and said, See, truly she is your wife. So how could you say she is my sister? And Yitzchak said to him, Because I said, lest I die on account of her. And Abimelech said, What is this you have done to us? One of the people had almost lain with your wife, and you would have brought guilt on us. And Abimelech commanded all his people, saying, He who touches this man or his wife shall certainly be put to death. And Yitzchak sowed in that land, and reaped in the same year 100-fold, and Yahweh barak him. And the man grew great, and went forward until he became very great. And he came to have possessions of flocks, and possessions of herds, and a great body of servants. And the Pelashites envied him. And the Pelashites had stopped up all the wells which his father's servants had dug in the days of Abraham, his father, and filled them with dirt. And Abimelech said to Yitzchak, "Go away from us, for you are much mightier than we." So Yitzchak went from there and pitched his tent in the Wadi Gerar and dwelt there. And Yitzchak dug again the wells of water which they had dug in the days of Abraham, his father. For the Pelashites had stopped them up after the death of Abraham, and he called them by the names which his father had called them. But when Yitzchak's servants dug in the Wadi and found a well of running water there, the herdsmen of Gerar strove with Yitzchak's herdsmen, saying, "The water is ours." And he called the name of the well Esek, because they strove with him there. And they dug another well, and they strove over that one too, and he called its name Sitnah. And he moved from there and dug another well, and they did not strive over it, and he called its name Rehoboth, and said, "For now Yahweh has made room for us, and we shall bear fruit in the land." And from there he went up to Beersheba. And Yahweh appeared to him the same night and said, "I am the Elohim of your father Abraham. Do not fear, for I am with you, and shall barak you, and increase your seed for my servant Abraham's sake." And he built an altar there, and called on the name of Yahweh. And he pitched his tent there, and the servants of Yitzchak dug a well there. And Abimelech came to him from Gerar with Ahuzath, one of his friends, and Pichol, the commander of his army. And Yitzchak said to them, "Why have you come to me, seeing you have hated me, and have sent me away from you?" But they said, "We have clearly seen that Yahweh is with you." And we said, "Please, let there be an oath between us, between you and us, and let us make a covenant with you, that you do not do evil to us, as we have not touched you, and as we have done only good toward you, and have sent you away in peace. You are now Baruch by Yahweh." And he made them a feast, and they ate and drank. And they rose early in the morning, and swore an oath with one another. And Yitzchak let them go, and they departed from him in peace. And on the same day it came to be, that the servants of Yitzchak came and informed him about the well which they had dug, and said to him, "We have found water." So he called it Sheba. Therefore the name of the city is Beersheba to this day. And when Esau was 40 years old, he took his wives, Yehudith, the daughter of Beri, the Hittite, and Basemath, the daughter of Elion, the Hittite. And they were a bitterness of spirit to Yitzchak and Ribkah. Chapter 27. And it came to be, when Yitzchak was old, and his eyes were too dim to see, that he called Esau, his elder son, and said to him, "My son?" And he answered him, "Here I am." And he said, "See how I am old. I do not know the day of my death. Now then, please take your weapons, your quiver and your bow, and go out to the field and hunt wild game for me, and make me a tasty dish, such as I love, and bring it to me to eat, in order that my being may barak you before I die." And Ribkah heard when Yitzchak spoke to Esau his son, and Esau went to the field to hunt wild game and to bring it. And Ribkah spoke to Jacob, her son, saying, "See, I heard your father speak to Esau your brother, saying, 'Bring me wild game, and make me a tasty dish to eat, and barak you in the presence of Yahweh before my death. And now, my son, listen to my voice, according to what I command you. Please go to the flock and bring me 2 choice young goats, and I make a tasty dish from them for your father, such as he loves. And you shall take it to your father, and he shall eat it, so that he might barak you before his death. And Jacob said to Ribkah his mother, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth-skinned man. What if my father touches me? Then I shall be like a deceiver in his eyes, and shall bring a curse on myself, and not a barakah. But his mother said to him, Let your curse be on me, my son. Only obey my voice, and go, get them for me. And he went and fetched them, and brought them to his mother, and his mother made a tasty dish, such as his father loved. And Ribkah took the best garments of her elder son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them on Jacob, her younger son. And she put the skins of the young goats on his hands, and on the smooth part of his neck. Then she gave the tasty dish and the bread which she had prepared into the hand of her son Jacob. And he went to his father and said, My father. And he said, Who are you, my son? And Jacob said to his father, I'm Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you said to me. Please rise, sit, and eat of my wild game, so that your being might barak me. But Yitzchak said to his son, How is it that you have found it so quickly, my son? And he said, Because Yahweh, your Elohim, brought it to me. Then Yitzchak said to Jacob, Please come near, so that I feel you, my son, whether you truly are my son Esau or not. Jacob went near to Yitzchak his father, and he felt him and said, The voice is the voice of Jacob, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he did not recognize him, for his hands were hairy, like his brother Esau's hands, and he barak him. And he said, Are you truly my son Esau? And he said, I am. And he said, Bring it near to me, and let me eat of my son's wild game, so that my being might barak you. So he brought it near to him, and he ate. And he brought him wine, and he drank. And his father Yitzchak said to him, Please come near and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him. And he smelled the smell of his garments, and barak him, and said, See, the smell of my son is like the smell of a field which Yahweh has barak. And Elohim give you of the dew of the shamayim, of the fatness of the earth, and plenty of grain and wine. Let people serve you, and nations bow down to you. Be master over your brothers, and let your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be those cursing you, and Baruch be those barakah you. And it came to be, as soon as Yitzchak had finished barakah Jacob, and Jacob had hardly left the presence of Yitzchak his father, that Esau, his brother, came in from his hunting. And he too had made a tasty dish, and brought it to his father, and said to his father, Let my father rise and eat of his son's wild game, so that your being might barak me. And his father Yitzchak said to him, Who are you? And he said, I am your son, your firstborn, Esau. Then Yitzchak shuddered with exceedingly great trembling, and said, Who was it then who hunted wild game and brought it to me? And I ate all of it before you came, and I have barak him. Even so, he is Baruch. When Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with an exceedingly great and bitter cry, and said to his father, Barak me too, O my father. And he said, Your brother came with deceit and took your Berekah. And Esau said, Was his name then called Jacob? For he has caught me by the heel these 2 times. He took my birthright, and see now, he has taken my Berekah. And he said, Have you not reserved a Berekah for me? Then Yitzchak answered and said to Esau, See, I have made him your master, and all his brothers I have given to him as servants. And I have sustained him with grain and wine. And what then shall I do for you, my son? And Esau said to his father, Have you only 1 Berekah, my father? Barak me too, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Yitzchak, his father, answered and said to him, Your dwelling is of the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of the Shamayim from above. And by your sword you are to live, and serve your brother. And it shall be, when you grow restless, that you shall break his yoke from your neck. And Esau hated Jacob, because of the Berekah with which his father barak him. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father draw near. Then I am going to kill my brother Jacob. And the words of Esau, her older son, were reported to Ribkah, and she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said to him, See, your brother Esau comforts himself concerning you, to kill you. And now, my son, listen to my voice, and rise, flee to my brother Laban in Haran, and stay with him a few days, until your brother's wrath turns away, until your brother's displeasure turns away from you, and he forgets what you have done to him. And I shall send and bring you from there. Why should I be bereaved of you both in one day? And Ribkah said to Yitzchak, I am disgusted with my life because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob takes a wife from the daughters of Heth, like these who are the daughters of the land, what is my life to me? Chapter 28. And Yitzchak called Jacob and barak him, and commanded him and said to him, Do not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan. Arise, go to Paddan Aram, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and take a wife for yourself from there, from the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. And El Shaddai barak you, and make you bear fruit, and increase you, and you shall become an assembly of peoples, and give you the Berekah of Abraham, to you and your seed with you, so that you inherit the land of your sojournings, which Elohim gave to Abraham. So Yitzchak sent Jacob away, and he went to Paddan Aram, to Laban, son of Bethuel the Aramean, the brother of Ribkah, the mother of Jacob and Esau. And Esau saw that Yitzchak had barak Jacob, and sent him away to Paddan Aram, to take himself a wife from there, and that as he barak him, he gave him a command, saying, Do not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan. And that Jacob had obeyed his father and his mother, and had gone to Paddan Aram. So Esau saw that the daughters of Canaan did not please his father Yitzchak. And Esau went to Ishmael, and took Mahalath, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, the sister of Nebaioth, to be his wife, besides the wives he had. Amen and Amen. Shabbat Shalom.